Yo, you know what it is, Unique Mecca Audio, man. I'm sitting here, man, with Porsche Tony. We do what we do. He want to ask me a couple of questions about the 80s. What's up, big dog?
Hey, what's up, man? It's a pleasure to meet you, man.
You already know.
80s legend, a Harlem king, a New York City king like you, man. You know, I just want to know, how was it for you, you know, growing up in the 80s, man?
Man, it was hard, man. Back then, it was like a dog-eat-dog world, man, you know? It was like, you know, we had no policing. We had no policing, you know, as far as in the streets of New York. You know, in any major city where you had blacks at, in the black neighborhoods, there wasn't no policing, it wasn't no none of that. You know what I mean? So it's like you do what you want. You see a building you want, you know what I mean, in a neighborhood where they got a lot of people, you just move in and, you know what I mean? Do what you do, you know what I mean? All you gotta do is worry about your pistol and the locals. You know what I mean? You ain't had to worry about no police. The police wasn't getting involved in nothing. Nobody got involved in nothing. You take what you want, my nigga, you know what I mean? So, you know, after being gone 26 years, coming home and seeing the way they got it, it's like crazy because I'm sitting there like, you know, nowadays, they got police on every corner. When I was out here, wasn't no police on none of the corners. There was none of that, you know what I mean? It's just you do what you want to do, man, you know? As big as your pistol is and big as your heart is, you know, that's how you claim your fame, you know what I mean? So, you know, it was a dog-eat-dog world, man, you know, but I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I loved it, you know what I mean? Because I ain't have nothing, so whatever I wanted, I had a green light to take it. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm dead ass. You know what I mean? If a nigga get money on the block, you want that, you go push him off the block. You know what I mean? If a nigga can't govern it, you know what I mean? He ass out. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta know how to do what you gotta do and just know how to survive when it's time to survive. You know what I mean?
So basically what you're saying is that if a dude, if he was on the block, right, and he ain't had the balls,
then he don't deserve it.
He don't deserve it.
You don't deserve it. If you can't govern it, you don't deserve it. You know what I mean? That's why they had wolves out there. You know what I mean? You had hustlers. I was a hustler. Then you had wolves that, you know what I mean? When I go moving on a block, they go to a wolf and tell a wolf, yo, this nigga Unique moving in. He trying to take my block. How much it's going to cost you to push him up off the block? And nigga might charge him 5, 10 grand. You understand what I'm saying? Now, once he get that 5 or 10 grand, they know he pussy. You understand what I'm saying? So after that, they going to take his block. He fool. You know what I mean? If you got to pay another nigga to protect you from somebody else, then that means you's a coward and you don't belong out there. So you got the game twisted if you think money is going to buy you strength. You know what I mean? Only thing buy you strength is your heart. You know what I mean? And that's it, you know?
Yeah, you can't buy a heart, man. You can't buy that. So, how was your relationships with the Dominicans back in the 80s? Like, what, like, take me back, like, when was the first time you met a Dominican?
Oh, the first time I met a Dominican, I was about 14, 13 years old. That was in the 70s on 158th Street when they had freebasing out. You know what I mean? It was freebasing then, you know? So you just go buy powder cocaine, get your little cooking bottle, you know what I mean, from the corner store, your little baking soda or ammonia, you know what I mean? They used to cook this shit up in ammonia and smoke it. So imagine inhaling ammonia, you know what I mean? That's how niggas was smoking back then. So, you know, if you wanted coke, you had to go up on Washington Heights to go get it back then, to get real coke, you know what I mean? Because everybody else that brought it from Washington Heights, they took it and they cut it up. So by the time you tried to cook up, let's say a gram is 10 lines. You try and cook up a gram, you might get back 3 lines. You know what I mean? You know, let's say it's $10 a gram. You know, so you're getting $30 back for your $70. You know what I mean? For your $100, so you're losing $70. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was already, you know, knowing the Dominicans from going up there when I used to rob and sniff coke and smoke coke and freebase and do all that. Back then, smoking coke was equivalent to right now niggas smoking weed. You understand what I'm saying?
Like smoking a blunt.
Yeah, it's like smoking a blunt, you know what I mean? But, you know, only the elite smoke because you had to have money to smoke. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it was like $100 a gram, $80 on the scale.
It was an expensive habit before.
Yeah, but we didn't look at it as a habit. We looked at it as, you know, as leisure, pastime. The same way we smoke a joint or we drink some Hennessy. You know what I mean? The nigga would get around the table and, you know, and they'll smoke cocaine. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and this is before the crack, so it didn't have the chemicals in it to make it addictive. So when niggas smoke, they, you know what I mean? Niggas was smoking and, you know, nigga always chasing that first high. So when he done, he go find something else to sell. I see niggas take their chains off their neck and sell it. See niggas sell their leather jacket. You know what I mean? They Dapper Dan jacket. I seen big ballers sell their Dapper Dan jackets, you know, came to me and sold this shit for a couple of grams. You know what I mean? When they paid like $8 grand for it. You don't give it to you for like $80, $100, just so that they can get that hit again of the pipe. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. But, you know, like I said, that's how I first hooked up with the Dominicans. And, you know, from there, I went to jail. And when I went to jail and came out, it was a whole nother story out here. You know what I mean? It was a whole nother story when I came out. Now they got crack out. You know what I mean?
What year was that?
That was 87. I came out of jail in 87.
In 87?
Yeah, by then AZ and them had the joint jumping in Harlem, you know what I mean? And, you know, was doing them. But they started off with the Coke bottles too, because it was cocaine back then. You know what I mean? But by 84, 85, that's when crack came in. You know what I mean? Big shout out, 59th Street, you know, Gusto. You know what I mean? What's my man up there? Polite. You know what I mean? You had Polite and them up there in Romance on on Doo-Wop Block, 159th Street in Amsterdam, you know? It was official, you know what I mean? They had lines. They were selling $20 bottles of crack then. Then crack went all the way down to $3 a bottle. Then I dropped it down to $1 a bottle when I came out. You know what I mean?
You fucked up the game with that one.
Nah, I improved the game, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, because, you know, you just make the bottle smaller. Nigga get a hit for $1. Nigga spend $10 and he sit there for about 20 minutes and get high and he good. You understand what I'm saying? But you buy a $20 bottle, you sit there for the same amount of time, and then when that run out, then you want more. And that's why you had stick-up kids and shit like that where, you know, crack gave everybody heart. Like liquor give you heart. You know, niggas get drunk and think they can fight now. But without the liquor, they cold coward, they ain't shit. But they get the liquor in them and now they want to fight and you wind up whooping them. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the liquor don't teach you to fight. You understand what I'm saying? It just give you the courage to fight. And if you can't fight, you're going to get whooped. You know what I mean? But, you know, yeah, that's what Washington Heights was back then, man. Shit was real. You know what I mean?
Hey, so how long did it take you to adjust when you came home in 87, right? Mm-hmm. To adjust to the, you know, to this new game, to this new crack?
Man, it didn't take long because by then, you know, like I said, I was freebasing, so it was more like a leisure thing. It was a pleasure thing. It wasn't like a addictive thing for me, you know what I mean? And so I came home, I already made my mind up. I wasn't going to get high no more. I was going to go back into selling coke. But then when I came home and saw it was crack, I saw how it was moving. You know what I mean? I went up the hill to Washington Heights, you know what I mean? Big shout out, you know what I mean? 160th. Ran into my man Franklin, you know what I mean? Gave him a little $100. He gave me a little 3.5 grams. I took that out of town, did what I did, you know? Just like I mentioned in the Roar in Harlem, you know what I mean? And, you know, so I wanted in. I took the little 3.5 grams out of town down to Jersey and went down there, busted down, made a little 1,200, you know what I mean, off my joint, and did that in like a couple of hours. I was $1,200 richer when all I spent was $100. You understand what I'm saying? So that was a good profit for a nigga just coming out of jail. $1,000 was a lot of money back then. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just learned to stack my paper, add my paper, and, you know what I mean, stay focused on the prize and, you know, watch out for the wolves, you know what I mean? But at the same time, be a wolf. You understand what I'm saying? But I didn't go looking for a nigga to take what he had, unless it was a spot. You know what I mean? If it was a spot and he get money out of it, now I want that. But as far as a dude with jewelry and all that, nigga don't want that, because you run around, you rob 10 niggas now, you got 10 different people looking for you. They done told their homies, they done describe you before you know you run into somebody. So, you know, shit just get crazy, man. You know?
Hey, Unique, so that 3.5, right, that you spent $100, what did it turn into?
Oh, shit, millions. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what made me the Kingpin. You know what I mean? I started off from that. I see how that was moving, and that was out in Jersey. And then I was like, why the fuck I'm taking it way out here to Jersey when I'm here in New York with all these people? You know what I mean? Because over there in Jersey, they get paid on Friday night. You understand what I'm saying? And by Saturday night, they ain't got no more money. Then you got to wait around till the next Friday night for them to get paid again, because they're going to spend that whole paycheck. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I just did what I had to do, man. You know what I mean? I came back to Harlem and, you know what I mean, looked around and, you know what I mean, I was already familiar with the Polo Grounds area, did what I did, and, you know, went up 154th Street. Big shout out, you know, to my man Large and everybody up there. You know what I mean? Black Vinny from the Black Door, you know, Chrissy, you know, Tyler, you know what I mean? EJ, Stick 'em Up, you know what I mean? Todd One, you know, Mo Grime, you know what I mean? and, you know, chill wheel. You know, I mean, you know, I blend in with the people because I made sure everybody ate. I didn't go up there to take money out of there without leaving money behind. So I gave everybody a chance to eat. You know, crack created jobs. You know what I mean? Crack created jobs.
Whole enterprise.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, you know, I just made sure everybody ate because everybody doing something to a certain degree. So as, you know, my connect, you know, started giving me more and I started getting more, I started doing more. You know what I mean? And, you know, from that, you know what I mean? I wanted in. I was all in. You know what I mean? So, you know, took a couple of, you know, buildings on the block, moved around and, you know, went downtown, you know, 129th Street, you know, big shout out, rest in peace, Nappy Red, you know what I mean? Chuck, you know what I mean? And, you know, we did what we did, you know, down there by the St. Nick projects. And, you know, nigga moved around. You know, if there's money there, I'm going to get it. You know what I mean? If there's money there, I'm going to get it. End the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the reason I asked you what the 3.5 turned into, because I got a little a saying I came up with going from a 3.5, an 8-ball, all the way to a brick.
Yeah.
And a lot of people they don't know how to hustle, so they don't even believe you could take
that shit easy.
8-ball into a whole brick. And I'm telling them, man, it ain't really that hard, man.
Nah, that's easy. Cause like I said, I just spent $100 on the 8-ball. You know, I done made $1,200. So now I'm $1,200 richer. You know what I mean? So if I got an 8-ball for that, you understand what I'm saying? You take 10, you know, 10 times 3.5, that's 30 grams right there. So now I'm working with 30 grams instead of 3 grams. You understand what I'm saying? And then from there, when I sell that, you know what I mean? So you put a G on each one, so that's 10,000 I got now. And back then, that's what a key was on the street. You know what I mean? With like 10, 12,000 for a key cooked up. You know what I mean? So now I got enough for a goddamn key that goddamn quick. You know what I mean? And that's in a matter of a week or two. You know what I mean? And, you know, because I didn't spend my money as I got it. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't spend the money as I got it. I worked for it. You know what I mean? I let it grow. I put it all back in the kitty because I didn't need nothing. Next thing I know, I turned around. I'm at 80,000. I'm like, damn, okay, I just need to get to 100. You know what I mean? And that was my goal. You know, that was every, you know, hustler's dream, then to get to 100,000. You know what I mean? And got the little 80, did what I had to do, and before you know it, I'm at 100,000. You know what I mean? And once I was at 100,000, there's no looking back because now I got enough to go buy 10 keys. You know what I mean? Then I had one of the homies coming from out of town that was doing this thing big down in DC. You know, big shout out to, you know, Dietrich and Jamel, the peoples, either or. You know, he came in and he bought 10 keys from me at 13,000 a key when I was getting it for 10. So I made 30,000 from the one sale. You know what I mean? So that's when I knew the money was in the weight. You understand what I'm saying? So I left, you know, the peoples behind that I was dealing with, and I gave them the blocks that I was dealing with, let them deal with that, just supply the blocks. And I just drove around Harlem looking for niggas that wanted weight. I know they was paying 13, 14 for it. I'm getting it for 10. So all I had to do was stay above 12, but under 13. You know what I mean? So I give them a key for 12.5, made a little 25 over each one, sell 2 keys, make another 5,000. And you got the homies on the block, they done bust it down. And off of that, they might be making a little 10,000, 15,000 on the block. And off of that, you getting another 5 off of that. You got 5 homies, that's 25,000 that you getting off of, you know, from 5 dudes. You know what I mean? Besides my, you know, bouncing around selling a little 2 and 3 keys here and there. So, you know, nigga made a little 20, 30,000 a day, you know, coming up, just coming out of jail. You know, that was big. You know, that was big. You know, I ain't gonna sit in front. That was big, a little 100,000. That was something back then. You know what I mean?
That's the American dream right there.
Yeah, you know, that was a unique dream. You know what I mean? Fuck the American dream. I didn't have American dreams. I had unique dreams. You know what I mean? Right. I'm gonna do what I want to do. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get me.
Yeah. You gonna do you. Mm-hmm. Hey, so how did it feel, man, when you got your first brick, man?
Oh man, when I got my first brick, it felt good. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna front, it felt good. You know what I mean? You know, the best feeling was when I sold my first brick. Getting it wasn't shit. You know what I mean? Because then you had to decide where you're going to put it, how you're going to break it down, who you're going to trust, who you might have to kill for fucking up the pack. You know what I mean? A whole lot of things come with that. You know what I mean? So the best part was when a nigga sold that brick. You know what I mean? So I done broke the brick down, sold it, made a little 60,000. And, you know, when I went to go pay the, you know, the connect, I'm all happy. You know what I mean? I'm Jamaican, so every time we happy, we bust our gun like the cowboys. Bow, bow, bow. So I bust my gun, bang, bang, bang. I'm shooting all in the air. And jumped in the cab, get pulled over by the police, and wound up catching a new charge from my excitement. You know what I mean? So, you know, it is what it is, man. You know, we just do what we do, you know?
Yeah. So, okay, so What about? Hey, tell me about the Club 2000, man. The famous Club 2000.
Oh, Club 2000. I got that because the homies needed somewhere to go. All we had was local bars that held maybe 80 people, 60 people, but they pack in 100, 120. And you know, when I go to the joint, you know, I'm buying the bar out. You know what I mean? I'm asking how many bottles of Moet they got. They had a thing called Pipers back then, shit like that, Lancers. So a nigga buy the whole bar, be like, yo, what you want for everything you got? You know what I mean? You just
everybody got to come to you if they want to drink.
Nah, I give it to everybody. They ain't had to come to me. I just look out for everybody. You know what I mean?
To everybody.
Yeah, so I buy the bar out and I just let them know free drinks on everybody. You know what I mean? So then I was like, damn, I need my own place because they run out of liquor. Then we had to go somewhere else to continue to drink. So I said, I just need to get my own place. So I went and found someplace big enough to do what I got to do. And, you know, went up in there. And, you know, I gave back to the people. Like I said, man, you know, Harlem loved me, New York loved me, Washington Heights loved me, D.C., Virginia, everywhere I went loved me because I made sure everybody eat. It wasn't about just me getting the money. You know what I mean? It wasn't all about me. I didn't care about the money like that. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that everybody was enjoying it. You know how you smoke a joint and the joint get good and you hand it to your man? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you get money and you feel good, you want to hand something to your man. You want to put your man in a position to get money. If you're a real nigga, you know what I mean? You want to make sure that everybody around you smiling. I don't want to be the only one smiling, like you don't want to be the only one high off the joint.
Yeah, that money ain't shit, man. If you the only nigga riding Porsche and a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And your man is riding on the Nissan or Altima or whatever.
Or walking.
You know?
Shit,
that, man, that don't equate to, you know, when everybody riding Porsche. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And you got, you know, 10 coupes in front of the club, you got 20 seats, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I used to do wild shit. I used to go to the garage and might get out 10 of my whips and, you know, get 10 of the homies, had them driving it, you know, they park their joint, because, you know, my joint might be a little more exclusive. And we pull up with mad, you know, purple cars, green cars, I mean, all foreign European, BMW, Mercedes, Nissan twin turbo, you know what I mean? Saabs, you know what I mean? Drop tops, you know what I mean? And, you know, nigga just want to let them know that we made it. That's what it was all about. Let them know we made it, you know?
What was your favorite car back then?
Oh man, I gotta say the wide body. That's the one that they use.
The white joint?
The white joint. The joint they used in the Pay the Full movie. I had the joint white and green. Big shout out to Age. Age had the white with the black interior. You know what I mean? But like I said, it was all friendly competition, man, you know? Like I always speak on Kevin Child's red Mercedes, because I just come home. He had that before I came home in 87. So the garage that I used to park my little $10,000 Mitsubishi in, Kevin Child's had the red Mercedes Benz parked up in there. You know what I mean? That he sent out to California, get the top cut. So, you know, that was my idol. That's what I wanted. I wanted something exclusive like that. And, you know, when I met him, I told him, man, yo, they joint fire. And I gave him his props where it was due. And I let him know I'm coming to see you, nigga. Next summer, I'm going to have something. You know what I mean? So the next summer I came, and I got my green and white, you know, drop top BMW with the BBS rims, 16 inches on the back, 13 on the front. You know, chrome. The rims alone cost me $32,000 for 4 rims. You know what I mean? And then the tires alone was like another $15,000. You know what I mean? For the tires. So, you know, I paid $45,000 just for rims and tires on the car. But I had to outdo Kev. You hear me, Kev? I had to outdo you, my nigga. You know what I mean? But that's what it is.
That's that 80s competition.
Yeah, you know, friendly competition. Yeah. But then the next year, my man Dietrich got mad that I done, you know, came and bust out with the joint. That's my man. I told you, you know, he bought the little 10 keys from me to get me on, you know what I mean, with the Connect. So he come out with the he get the 560 Mercedes 2-door coupe. You know what I mean? He got it white, and then he took it to Dapper Dan, and he got the gray. He got the white seats with the gray Gucci on the seats and the headrest and the piping, and then he put a Testarossa wide body kit on it, like I put on the BMW. And the BMW cost like 35. The Mercedes that he had cost about 70. Then he put another 70 into the kit. You know what I mean? You know, to outdo my shit. But I spent a little 40, 45 on my kit for the BMW, because of course that was a little cheaper. But you know, it was all friendly competition. So, you know, he knocked me out the box the next year. You know what I mean? And, you know, and that's how we do, man. You know what I mean? So then, of course, I went and got the white 750. You know what I mean? And now I got to step it up. And everybody was just competing with everybody, man, and doing them and just having a ball. That was the 80s. If you know what I mean? If I'm saying they want the real, I'm going to give you the real. Nigga, I lived it. I'm a part of it. You know what I mean? I mean, the rappers came around to see what we was driving. You know what I mean? The rappers used to come to Rucker Park just to see what rims we had on our cars, what shoes we had on our feet, what kind of sneakers we was wearing. Because remember, that's when Fila, Champion, you know what I mean? You know, Nike's been out, but I mean, these are other brands that try to get involved with them and try to get in their lane, you know what I mean? But it you know what I mean? So, you know, our jewelry like that, you know, like, you know, that's a Porsche joint. Like now with that, might get a big black onyx put behind it, or whatever color your car is, a big stone to match it, and you put diamonds in that, and you put your name in it, because you don't want to look like you just took it out the window. You know what I mean? Your shit got to be unique. You know what I mean? Niggas just get official.
Custom shit.
You know, like this joint here. You know what I mean? This one of my old joints here I got custom made from Pele Pele. The next thing you know, they went and they started making them. You know what I mean? And I know many of y'all probably ain't even seen these jackets, but that's because when I ordered my shit, it's like everybody watched what the dope boys was driving and wearing. You know what I mean? So when I went and ordered the joint from Pele Pele, you know what I mean? Because I really got this, you know, for my brother. That's what the PP, they, you know, it stands for Pele Pele, but I got the PP put on it for, you know, Pretty Peter. That was my older brother, you know, rest in peace. So, you know, I bought him one and I bought me one, you know what I mean? So I still wear his, you know what I mean? Mine say UG on it for you, God, but I wear my brother's because he, you know, he gone, you know what I mean? So, you know, when I'm feeling my little nostalgic mood, I throw on the joint, think of my brother, you know what I mean? Like he walking with me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the love and loyalty.
Hey, man, Unique, tell me about the bitches in the 80s, man.
Oh man, back in the 80s, it was easy. You drive down the street with a $100,000 car, you got the top cut off, that joint sent out to California, you beat the horn, everybody head turning, and everybody's coming to look. You know what I mean? Everybody coming to look. You know what I mean? So, you know, you beat the horn, the females run up on you. And, you know, it's funny. They used to wear the little body tops with mad powder on their chest, with their little breasts sticking out, with the little nipples, because there was no bras. They didn't really know about the fashion and all that. And, you know, they didn't have a bunch of designer jeans. They used to wear some jeans called Big John and Edwin's. You know, Edwin is one brand, Big John is another. Those was like some slim fit jeans that when a girl put them on, they ass stretch out in the jeans so they look slim. Those were like fitted jeans that they wearing now, but this before fitted jeans. You know what I mean? They wore the big bamboo earrings, you know what I mean? Then of course when they got a nigga getting money like Unique or Porsche, you know what I mean? They, you know, Porsche Tony, they throw they name in it, you know what I mean? Then when you know you see them with their name in it, now you gotta have your girl outshine your man girl, so now you go get diamonds in your girl joints. You know what I mean? It was all about friendly competition, you know, whatever we had. Like when I used to go to Dapper Dan, big shout out to my man Jamel. He was fucking with Gina from Drew Hamilton. He took up in Dapper Dan and got her a Louis Vuitton dress made. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, for us to go to the Apollo, because he wanted his girl to, you know, outshine everybody else girl that was there. But you know, I ain't had no girl, so I wasn't in that little competition. My thing was outdoing him. But you know, she shut the joint down. She was the baddest thing in the joint. You know what I mean?
Hey, when was your first time meeting Dapper Dan?
Oh man, first time I met him was '87 when I first came home, and I told him, I like what you're doing, nigga, I will be back. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I came back and I bought, you know, when I bought the M3, so then I went and got I got him to make me a jacket for the M3. You know what I mean? It was a Fendi jacket. It was like an army color green, the M3. So I got the jacket, army color green, you know, with the black letters on it, with the Fendi on it, and did what I did. But the first, you know, work he did for me was my Mitsubishi. You know what I mean? I got the Mitsubishi with the MCM mask on it. Like I said, everybody was getting Gucci and all that. So that's why I didn't even play the Gucci jackets, because, you know, that was like going to Macy's buying a Gucci to go get a Dapper Dan Gucci jacket. That's where I felt about it. You know, I had to be unique. So, you know, I went to look at other name brands and I came up with the MCM. So I got the MCM shit, the Fendi shit, you know what I mean? The Bally, you know what I mean? I got off brand name because everybody went for the Gucci shit. You know what I mean? Cause for Dapper Dan, known for the Gucci. That's why Gucci picked him up. You know what I mean? But he also did whatever brands you wanted. And I used to just pick some brands that I knew nobody else was going to have. So when I rolled up in the rooftop, I'm going to be the only nigga with the Pele Pele on. I don't want another nigga have on the same jacket because he brought it off the rack. That's whack. You know what I mean?
Hey, Unique, take me through a regular day at the height of your 80s career. What was like a regular day?
Oh man, a regular day. As soon as the sun get up, I was ready to get up. I got 30 cars in the garage. I just need to be drunk. I just want to be seen. That was my mentality. You know what I mean? I want to be seen. I want to be seen as the king. You know what I mean? So I pull up in the garage and, you know what I mean? And, you know, whatever I'm wearing, I go get a car to match it. You know what I mean? If I ain't got a car to match it, I go buy a car to match it. You know what I mean? And nigga just had to be that nigga, you know what I mean? So you pull up in the joint, you drive through the little blocks. I might come out the garage on 55th in the Bradhurst. I hit 8th Avenue, pull right up in front of the phone booth in front of Blimpies. And you know, got out, did my little thing, slapped everybody 5, smoked the joint, drunk a little Heineken or Guinness Stout to get ready, start the day. And then after that, might drive down to 125th Street, you know what I mean? Look for something to wear for that night, you know what I mean? Try and put something together. Then so I run up in AJ Lester. You know, AJ Lester was our Macy's for the black hustlers. You know what I mean? AJ Lester's right there on 25th Street. I think right now AJ Lester, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what they got Red Lobsters in right now. You know, in the AJ Lester. But you know, go up in there and you get your gear. It was all about spending money and being prepared for, you know, for the sun to go down. You know what I mean? And for the sun to come up. So I'm looking for something to wear, you know what I mean, after 4 o'clock. So let's say it's early in the day. I know in the morning it'd be cool, so I might jump in the Nissan Twin Turbo with the T-tops, you know what I mean? And I pull out in that, you know what I mean? Then when the sun come out, I might throw out, you know, I might go to the garage and get in the Jeep Wrangler, take the top off, you know what I mean? Throw on a big ass straw hat, take my shirt off, mad jewels on, you know what I mean? All buffed up, and we do what we do, you know what I mean? And we ride and we letting other niggas know that we getting it, you know what I mean? Like I said, what I love about that era is, you know, I wasn't the only one getting it. Everybody was getting it. You know what I mean? Some was getting it more than others, and some was getting way more than others. You know what I mean? And that's the elite, you know, category that I was at. That's why everybody knew everybody's business back then, because there was only so many places you could go to go get, you know, your cars done or the clothes done or get your jewelry done. Big shout out to Manny, you know what I mean, for the jewel, Fat Tony, you know what I mean? So we had certain people that was doing what they do, you know what I mean? And you had other niggas that'd just go down to Canal Street and go buy the big dookie 10 karat gold chain to look like something, you know what I mean? But we was getting the real rope chains that weighed something. You know, dude go buy, yeah, you know, nigga go buy a chain for 500, big ass chain like this for 500. So I go buy a big ass chain like this for maybe 15 grand. Throw that joint on with a pendant on, let a nigga know what it is. So when I'm walking, my shit ain't blowing in the wind, cause my shit ain't hollow. My shit laying on my motherfucking chest like your shit. You know what I mean? And that, you know, that's how we do, man. It was flavor. Let's get it right. You know what I mean? That's why everybody loved Harlem, because we had friendly competition. We outdid each other. It was all about getting the money, man. It was all about getting that paper.
Hey, where was Manny's located at?
Right up there, 145th and Broadway, right up in the heart of the crack block. That's crack block. That's where Jay-Z talk about. He go up there to the McDonald's and buy the crack and that. You know what I mean? That's where they was at. You know what I mean? I robbed a bunch of them up there, did what I had to do, and I moved down the block, got my own thing on 152nd. Big shout out to Felipe, Matt, Toro, you know what I mean? White Pete, Felix, you know what I mean? Allen, 163rd, you know, Wani, 57th Street. I mean, you know, you had people, all, you know, all up and down there, but I was welcome on every block because niggas know that, you know, I handle my business. You know what I mean? Niggas know that you handle your business, they ain't gonna get in your lane. You know what I mean? And I make sure everybody got a piece of what I got, you know what I mean? Because it ain't no fun if I'm the only one with it. You know what I mean?
It definitely ain't no fun if you don't go on with it, man.
Nah, never that.
You can't enjoy it.
So, you know, it is what it is, man. But, you know, that was my era. That's what everybody trying to capture. And the crazy part is you got people talking about it that never lived it and don't want to listen to the people that lived it. You know what I mean? So they trying to change their narrative of it. But that's why I don't really pay that shit no mind, because my name and my legitimacy etched in stone in Harlem, Washington Heights, you know what I mean? Yeah, Virginia and everywhere else that I went, Carolina, you know, because if it was money, I was going to get it. You know what I mean?
So your legacy solidified.
Yeah.
Etched in stone.
Come on, man. I mean, that's the least of the worry. I laid down for 26 years. Only reason y'all don't know about me because I couldn't do those interviews and all that, because if the courts would have known who I really was, I wouldn't have really got out. You know what I mean? They would have kept me forever. So I just did what I had to do. You know what it is. You know, but that's where my motto come in at. You know, so cop your shirt, the shut the fuck up joint. You have the right to remain silent. You know what it is? It ain't promoting no don't snitching. It ain't promoting no none of that. It's just promoting the same thing the Fifth Amendment say. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. So the police tell you, so you need to shut the fuck up. But you need to talk to us. You know what I mean? Because we need that information, because that's the only way we're going to catch Unique, because he too slick. That's the only way we're going to catch Kevin Childs, AZ, you know what I mean? So, you know, they need people to tell on each other. If you ain't telling, they can't get nothing. You know what I mean? That's why they came up with the conspiracy law and the Kingpin law. You know what I mean? They're just saying you conspired. If I tell it, if a dude come tell me he want to buy 5 keys and I tell him come back later on with the money, and he go tell the police that he made a deal to buy 5 keys. I get locked up for that without even making the sale. You know what I mean? Because we conspired to buy and sell 5 keys. You know, so this shit was serious, man. It's a whole nother era. You know.
That's why we gotta stay all legit. We all legit now, baby.
Yeah, you already know. You know what I mean? That's why I'm, we selling these stories. You see, big shout out to 50 Cent. He running wild with it in Hollywood. I'm waiting on my chance. It'll be there. You know what I mean? The same way God made me sit for 26 years before he put me back out here. I don't know how long he gonna make me wait before he put me in Hollywood, but I will be in Hollywood. All right? You know?
Yeah, they need you in Hollywood. Right?
Yeah, you already know, because I'm gonna give them authenticity.
You the real deal.
Come on, I know when I go in a goddamn building in New York, motherfucking city, I expect to see, back in the 80s, I expect to see garbage all over the floor, a rat run by, a rat hit the garbage, and a nigga jump, pull his gun out because he don't know what it is. You know what I mean? These are all the little things that's missing from the movies, you know what I mean? That, they don't know the intricacy of when a nigga go in a building, like even when the police come in one of our buildings, the first thing they do is hold their nose like, damn. You know what I mean? You don't even see that on TV, but that's because the buildings stink, because niggas be hanging out in the front, be walking by, and he goes walk in whatever building because there's no locks on the doors and go piss on the floor. You know what I mean? Now the whole goddamn building smell like piss. Then you got crackheads that when they got a shit, they ain't got nowhere to go because ain't nobody gonna let them in their restaurant to use the bathroom. So they was shitting in the hallways too. And then you smell that. So when you walk in the building, you're supposed to say, whoa, you know what I mean? Let a nigga know that you in the hood. You know what I mean? When you smell that hood stench. You know what I mean? And people live there, gotta smell that every day. You know?
Yeah, you only gonna get that in the hood. You only gonna get that smell in the hood.
And you only gonna know that if you're from the hood. You know what I mean? They think they're just the outside of the way the buildings look, because they looking at old videos that's Harlem. Nah, that ain't Harlem. You gotta go in Harlem and see the graffiti on the wall. You gotta see the sculptures and the statues and shit, because when they was making the buildings back in those days, they was creating art on the walls. You know what I mean? You go in any building up in Washington Heights, man, and you see all the buildings they got on the stones. They might have angels on the stones, and where it looked like a cathedral, like a church in the building. But that's how people took pride in the buildings when they built them, because they was really built for the Jews. They wasn't built for the Dominicans or us. The Jews went out and Dominicans came in, you know?
Yeah, so who was out there in Harlem when you first got over here? You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean, who was out there? Like what?
Like what race of people was first out there?
Oh no, Washington Heights was Dominicans. It was always Dominicans, during my time, but that was from in the late 70s when I went up there. It was always Dominicans. But then they had the Jews that was down on Wadsworth and all that, which is a block away, because they held on to those areas because it was closer to the water. But Broadway, it came too much into the city. So they kind of let that go, and that's how the Dominicans got in and started shaking and baking and doing what they do. And they ran it good, because the Dominicans, they be out there sweeping the front of their stores. You might see somebody sweeping the front of their building, you know what I mean? Every morning they go out there with a little broom and they just sweep in front of the building, because they was clean people like that. You know what I mean? But no disrespect to Harlem. You go down to Harlem, nigga pissing and spitting on the sidewalk. Ain't nobody thinking about cleaning that up. You know what I mean? So it was a different thing. So when we went up there, when blacks went up there to Washington Heights, they watched this, because they expected us to spit and piss on the floor. You know what I mean? Because they say that, like, that's how we living down there. But that wasn't everybody. But that's just how, the fiends was living. You know what I mean? And when we sleep at night, they roam during the day. You wake up in the morning, the shit and pisses out there. You know?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to add?
Nah, just, gonna really just shoot that, I'm a matter of fact, I'll probably just put this up on the YouTube, introduce you and run some people to whatever you trying to do. You know what I mean? Because you got me talking longer than expected, but it's just so much, man. And, such a good brother, I'm just giving it to him. Tell them what you get ready to do so they know what your platform is, what you plan on doing.
Okay, so I'm filming a movie, based around my life, and I'm also filming a documentary with the Dominican Kingpins and the Black Kingpins, and we're gonna bring it all together. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling, the big homie Unique. You know what I'm saying? Us Dominicans, we was bringing the shit in. You know what I'm saying? But we could have had done it without the blacks. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they need the blacks to move it.
We need
but
that shit.
But let's get this right. The Colombians was bringing it in.
The Colombians
was bringing it in, and they gave it to the Dominicans because they spoke the language, and they was more mannered than Puerto Ricans who was wilder, and blacks like me that was wilder. So they gave it to the Dominicans, and the Dominicans dealt with us, and they dealt with the Dominicans. But the Dominicans didn't deal with the blacks, other than it was the cop and go. Even with the Puerto Ricans, Dominican Puerto Ricans don't really get along. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna get get too into that, y'all make your own video on that and twist that narrative. You know what I mean? Because they like to twist shit up. But, you know.
Hey, you nigga, I want you to take me through like when you go to cop at a Dominican spot. What was it like going through the building and, you know, going up the stairs, you know, that little experience?
Oh, shit, when you go up there, you know, your heart racing. You know what I mean? Because you're anxious to get what you want, you know what I mean? But then you don't know what's going to happen when you come out. You know what I mean? Meaning you come out the building, nigga might be waiting outside to take your shit. You understand what I'm saying? Because like I said, if you can't govern it, you can't have it. The wolves is out. The wolves stayed lurking. You know what I mean? So you got your pistol with you and you roll up in there. Like I said, I used to roll up in my man's spot when I go in. The first thing I do, take my pistol out, hang it by the, you know, by the trigger, and let him know, yo, I got my gun with me. I give him the gun so that he know I came for peace. But when I'm done with my sale, he give me back my gun and I go downstairs. And if a nigga was lurking in the dark, I got something for his ass. You know what I mean?
So when you went up in one of them joints, they patted you down, right?
Oh, hell yeah, you got patted down. Yeah, you had to get patted down. But if I'm saying before the pat down, I let them know, yo, I got my shit. You know what I mean? I got my shit. It ain't to rob you, it's protect me, nigga. I got my joint. And, you know, out of courtesy, I'll give it to him. You understand what I'm saying? Out of courtesy, I give it to him. You know what I mean? Because people that I'm dealing with, we gotta let them know that, because they don't trust us. They not gonna rob you in there. You coming to cop nothing because you know where they at. You know what I mean? So always let them know I got my joint, you know what I mean? And, you know, keep it moving. So when a nigga go outside, if they got any wolves lurking outside, I got something for their ass. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, big homie, man. It's a pleasure meeting you, man.
All the time. You know what it is, you know? Tune in, Unique Mecca Audio, man. Porsche Tony, we doing, man. And, you know, we going to do more of this because I'm feeling the little brother, you know. I like the questions he asked, so just going to put this up. Happy holidays to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, one.
Cheers. Toast the crime. Toast the crime. The crime. The crime. The crime. Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a Kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horning uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, you got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the youth them, cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the root men.